Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Mike Naso from IPR with the latest on Hurricane Ernesto, the second hurricane of the 2012 Atlantic hurricane season. And when we look at the overall Atlantic basin over the last, say, day or two, clearly Ernesto has been the feature we've been watching. We do have the remnant of Florence out here in the central Atlantic and a new invest that we'll talk about moving into view. This one could be a problem down the road for the Caribbean islands as well, as some of the computer models also show that becoming a hurricane. But our hurricane as of today is Ernesto, strengthening there, headed for the Mexican Yucatan Peninsula as a hurricane. Now here's the latest on Ernesto as of 2 p.m. Eastern Time is at 18.5 north, 85.5 west, moving west-northwest at about 13 miles an hour or so, and on this track is a little bit to the north of the forecast track, so it has been adjusted by the Hurricane Center. Nonetheless, it will make landfall later tonight or early Wednesday morning as a hurricane, at least to Category 1. Right now, winds sitting at 80 miles an hour, gusting to 100, and it is forecast to intensify into landfall. Once it makes landfall, it will then weaken and then re-emerge in the Bay of Campeche, and by, say, Thursday night, be a hurricane once again, heading for another area in Mexico. 983 millibars was the pressure, and of course we have those hurricane warnings out for areas of the Yucatan Peninsula with the expectation that Ernesto will make landfall as a hurricane and then move across, but even these models may be initialized a little too far south to really account for where Ernesto will go, but nonetheless the straightforward thinking is right into the Bay of Campeche as a hurricane once again once it re-intensifies after leaving the Yucatan. Here's the latest satellite imagery of Hurricane Ernesto, and clearly a much better defined system than earlier. It's been having trouble with these outer bands. You had very strong convection on that, but not a whole lot on the core. But it spent the last 12 hours or so building a better inner core, and even though conditions are not favorable for drastic intensification to a major hurricane or anything like that, it is forecast to get to at least 90 miles per hour prior to landfall there, somewhere south of the island of Cozumel and north of Chetumal in Belize and the Mexico border here, right around the Yucatan Peninsula. And heavy rainfall no doubt will be a factor. You can see very strong rain bands, intense rain bands as the system continues to pour in. And here's the latest radar out of the Cancun area. Clearly you can see the counterclockwise rotation bringing in rain showers, and some areas will receive copious amounts of rain as Ernesto moves its way in. Now here's the latest RGB satellite as the sun came up. Still no real signs of an eye, although it is embedded within that central dense overcast, so if an eye pops out before landfall, we could see a faster rate of intensification. Nonetheless, a hurricane headed for the Yucatan Peninsula on this August afternoon, Hurricane Ernesto, that we will continue to monitor. Now I did want to touch on our Invest 92L very briefly. It is forecast to continue basically to the west, some models even to the west-southwest, in the general direction of the Lesser Antilles here, and the ship's model actually makes it a hurricane in about 5 days, headed for the islands. And when we take a look at the central Atlantic, you notice two features. The first is what's left of Florence out here, not looking that great, but showing a little bit more life than it was yesterday, continuing to move with the low-level flow in this general direction. And here spins in 92L. Could this be Gordon? It's quite possible. Some of the models do make this a tropical cyclone headed for the islands, so we're going to keep an eye on it. It is still a long way away from land, and of course the main threat right now is with our Hurricane Ernesto. Ernesto, of course, is the feature we've been monitoring for several days, and as we continue to watch it as it heads towards the Yucatan, clearly strengthening, and the impacts will be felt along the Yucatan Peninsula over the next 12 to 18 hours. This one will pack a punch. It is intensifying, so be prepared. I'm Mike Naso from IPR with the latest on Hurricane Ernesto. I will see you next time.